Hello, folks on YouTube. Northstar here with another Hearts Iron 4 US Mexico multiplayer. Got the Damarun. Let's play. Howdy. Uh, yeah, so it's been a while, but I've spent some time looking at stuff and trying to figure out strategies. I even tried to see if Nick wanted to come and pick up Nicaragua for a little while, even though I knew he wouldn't be able to come back again later. But he just, I don't know, he didn't really respond to the idea. He kept for ages. He's been like, we'll do something sometime, and then no, and then no, and then no. I don't know. Um, oh, we're never gonna finish that. At least if he came here and picked up Nicaragua for like a session. The thing with that is the stupid AI is going to lock itself into the non-aligned Democratic branch, and then you're going to come, and if you conquer and puppet it, you won't be able to access its communist political focuses, which are so much better because free manpower from indoctrination, 400 manpower a week, and political commissars gives recovery rate too. Excuse me. Also, foreign subversive activity efficiency reduction. So yeah, it gets some would have gotten some cool bonuses, and that's not gonna happen with the AI. But I think when kind of looking through considering ideas for the puppet, I'd taken a look at Nicaragua, and it looks like they're doing the mass assault doctrine, so they'll probably be um, good to puppet. Probably could have noticed this later just by looking at their state's recruitable pop factor, but it'll give them an extra 5% if they go the right-sided mass assault. The like popular popular liberation army. It's called let's see, mass mobilization starts with People's Army, then infantry offensives. At Human Wave offensive, they get an extra 5% recruitable population and reduce infantry combat width and extra reinforce rate. So that makes them kind of a better puppet because you can get extra manpower of the state more than you would if you controlled it directly in colonial divisions, and then your colonial divisions will use your army doctrine grand battle plan. Um, Even expeditionary forces can still be under your generals because one of the things about right-sided mass assault is it doesn't get good tactics except for guerrilla warfare, which is only good in defending, really. Um, but it gets some decent bonuses to like supply and stuff. So if they're under your generals, they get your generals' tactics, but they get all the expeditionary forces, but they'll get all the like supply bonuses from their army doctrine tree. If they're colonial divisions, they get your army doctrine, like everything, but still get the recruitable. The point is Nicaragua will make a good puppet, and they start with a stronger military with like a couple artillery battalions and a couple artillery support companies as well. So they start with like 100 artillery pieces at the start of the game, it looks like. Um, since it doesn't look like they produce that artillery themselves, um, and it's not labeled as being foreign produced anyway. So it sometimes when you puppet a country, the army doesn't disappear if you didn't destroy the divisions. And then, they still have an army after being puppeted. Not always. Sometimes it just disappears and they capitulate. Usually, though, when it's just one country and they capitulate the moment you take their capital, like their army sticks around. So, uh, yeah, their divisions are actually better than yours right now, like higher quality. They have more artillery support. Um, so yeah. uh, let's see. Um, so yeah, I decided I'm gonna start producing some fleet destroyers. When I get another trait for an MIO, I'm gonna start gyro stabilized mounts. It's just task force shipbuilder thing now. Probably start producing some upgraded light cruisers that have better batteries, better like main armament batteries. But yeah, artillery are pretty expensive. You have a lot of manpower to equip too. Uh, like what are you teching right now? I forget. Even though I looked at it, I forget. Yeah, yeah, that's the infantry too. The yeah, and then I think you should be able to, without ahead of time penalties, get improved 1939 artillery at this point, right? Which is like actually a different model with higher base attack. Yeah. So yeah, and then after that, you can start equipping your divisions with artillery. And start producing the like artillery one, which is what like Nicaragua's divisions all have. They don't have obviously 39 artillery yet, and I don't think they have the industry to produce it. So the artillery become increasingly outdated. I wonder why. It must reflect some like historical military buildup in like the early 30s or something for some reason. Um, but yeah, Nicaragua also has the second smallest base population in Central America after Costa Rica. And oh well, no, in Panama, but you're gonna be annexing Panama, um, like after they formed Gran Colombia. And I think Costa Rica was going, I want to say Grand Battle Plan, so they won't get extra recruitable pop or anything. Uh, but yeah, if you puppet Nicaragua, I should get, I think, an event to embargo them, and I can just lift it and get 10% base war support, which will get my base war support up to 70%, and then I'll eventually get 80 from a focus, and that'll be good because that'll allow me to have 100% base war support in offensive wars. Uh, and then eventually, when like the Antilles, the two Dutch countries, that'll get me up to 100% base, and I can consider stuff like doing little industrial land appropriation eventually, and then getting the war support back with like film industry stuff. Not for a long time, but the U.S. does run out of build slots. But yeah, it might be better not to annex Nicaragua, instead puppet them. In fact, most of the Central American countries, I don't think any of them have done their industrial tree. One of them has done their naval dockyards, I think, but other than that, it's just um, they might have all done their naval dockyards except Guatemala and Belize. But yeah, they haven't done their actual like military and civ factory stuff. So, um, I don't know. There's something to be said there for. I don't think they've all locked themselves into Liberty Ethos yet either. Oh, they have. They have. El Salvador hasn't. Nicaragua's about to. El Salvador is the one that hasn't. Hmm. Uh, I forget. What does your first expansion focus give you war goals on? Marching south. Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. Looks like. Yeah. So, you could just puppet all those, and then they can do their industrial trees, It doesn't say in Belize when I'm looking at it, but maybe. Integrate the South. Oh yeah, you can core the state, but yeah, you don't get a war going. So yeah, at some point you may want to go for them, but with Guatemala, Honduras, what? Yeah, which would not be easy or worth it probably, but yeah, so you can grab the worker militias while you're still at atheist state, and then you won't weaken the church any further, and won't have to deal with um having to strengthen them like twice, and it gives you a little political power. But and then I guess but there's also the military budget review and getting the Pacific Coast and Gulf Coast naval yards. The Gulf Coast give you a battle line shipbuilders, which can give you a production bonus by assigning them to produce that capital ship. And then the Pacific Coast can give you task force shipbuilders, which you probably actually want to use for designing your coastal defense ships and other ships in the future. Um, at least once they have a trade or two. But yeah, yeah, maybe worth it to go communist. I mean, once you go communist, to like push right into those three countries because it'll get you. I mean, it'll get me some base war support, and El Salvador might even get locked into their communist tree if you do it quick enough instead of the fascist one. So, well, yeah, let's see. Recruitable pop. Damage to garrisons, useless for a puppet. I'm looking. Mobilization speed, useless for a puppet. Paramilitarism. Division train time. Yeah, none of the fascist national spirits make them better puppets. Uh, except supply. No, none of them. Whereas the communist stuff, supply combat penalties in core territory not useful for a tiny nation. It's right next to its capital supply hub like that. Um, its little nations tend to overmobilize. The mobilization speed not useful. Uh, yeah. So yeah, you definitely want to get into the communist political focuses if possible. And El Salvador might not be too late for that. I don't even see collectivist ethos on them yet, so they haven't started that, and they will do that as a fascist. So you have a little longer to, because fascists and communists share collectivist ethos. So you have 70 days longer to before they lock themselves into the fascist tree. Um, but yeah, sorry, didn't mean to talk forever. My civil war is about to break out. I thought maybe we could just go a little bit and into this. I don't know if you wanted to do some Age of Wonders or do you have Starbound? Because we because I was gonna say I just got back into it recently. I have it reinstalled my computer, and I was doing multiplayer with someone else, but the universes are like client side and persistent. So if you're interested in doing all that, just because I don't have a lot of stamina for the Heart's Iron level of like attention required today. What? Yeah, that's kind of tough. I might want to wait, like just get to where it breaks out, and then like could cut the stream and like save the game at that point, and I could drop battle plans, figure out based on where stuff spawns, like what I'm gonna do as soon as as soon as the actual war breaks out, because it actually takes a few days after Texas succeeds till the war breaks out. Um, I think it's only 2 days or maybe one. Um, and then I could start drawing up battle plans and stuff like off camera on different days, and we come back to it at the battle plans already drawn up and know what I'm gonna do. Um, all right. Anyways, I guess I'll unpause. Yeah, and for now you were just oh yeah, the space bar doesn't work. You were just pushing north to the Texas border, right? All right. Cool. Pause. I was not running a focus. Save political power for. Hold on, there was something weird with. Was I buying stuff from you just to give you factories or something? Oh yeah, tungsten. Okay, I got a message about undelivered stuff. Just wanted to make sure I had an idea what was going on with that. All right, on pause again. Oop. It's equipment production. I know about that. Oh, I can promote a general, I think. Hold on. Joseph Stillwell. I could promote him for a while. The others require 30. Alright. Never mind. That'll be 10 more days then. Hold on, to pause music here so I can think. What did you? So, are you actually like attacking, or were you waiting for like planning and stuff? Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I was just trying to remember like what was going on with that. Oh, shh. I knew I was forgetting something. Now I remembered it, but not too many days have passed. Uh, to get exact number, 3 days. When they when you recaptured when you took their capital from them, San Luis, you had a spy that was building intel network there, right? So he would have just gone to counterintelligence. So you need to assign him to their current capital in Monterey to spy on them there. Otherwise, then intel networks just decay actually very quickly. Like, what's their intel network strength at right now? Yeah, but there was like 10% of Monterey 3 days ago. 5. Yeah, it decays 1.7% a day. So, uh, very rapid decay, unfortunately. Shoot, I should have remembered that earlier, but at least I caught it before all saved you 5% Intel network strength. I wanted to remind you about that. Spies are just like something you always got to keep on top of. Like I got a spy right now in Madrid just to lower the max planning a little bit of the Spanish like empire. Although looks like the Intel network doesn't actually reach anywhere useful there anymore. I'm just gonna reposition them to Bilbao or Navarra. There we go, Navarra. Since I'm actually trying to use them to weaken the Spanish directory, because they get less max planning if there's a spy. Cool. When I get second spy, I'm actually going to probably try and infiltrate them. Oop. Turkey was puppeted. The Muscatilg. Huh? It happens a little different. Oh yeah, there's a rump state in Ankara, which has the original Turkish tab. What did it say? The Muscatel group. That was what we put in power in. Yeah, there's a small, like, France decided to force ideology in the south of Turkey, but didn't have enough to do it to the whole country. So there's now the Republic of Turkey. There's the Turkish Socialist Republic, which is a British puppet. There's the French Mandate of Kurdistan, the Protectorate of Armenia. um, yeah, Kurdistan is like a pre-programmed thing that France will do. So they actually, some of that territory, well, no, they could hand over. They could have hand over parts of Syria, but they're not going to. But I think some of that they already had as like a non-core territory. Didn't they have? Oh no, Malta was Turkish, maybe not. But yeah. Uh, if this was in the next update, there were some build slots that would have disappeared when the Turkish states changed hands. But they don't. Supposedly they don't anymore in the new update. But this will actually increase the industrial development of Turkey overall because of the generic trees actually being better for industry than Turkey's tree. So most of Turkey's things just give like construction speed boost, and AI doesn't know how to use those correctly. And Greece will eventually core all that stuff in the West. They just have to run like a focus first. But once they do it, they'll eventually core Izmir and Istanbul and everything. It's their Nenekakaman unlocks the Form Greater Greece decision, which might rename Istanbul to Constantinople. So, uh, little Easter egg thing there. Oh, I got a division to pre-deploy. Hold on. 2 divisions. Shoot. Oh, I was trying to pause the music and pause the game. Cool. I desperately need to get as many men out as I can. It's actually looking a little bit like some areas of my front with where the Neo Confederates would be are very undersupplied, Joe. So if you can, that's one more reason I may not want to like continue with things before I've taken a chance to assess the situation. Otherwise, I could actually get pushed back in some areas. Yeah, it's not pretty. Some areas, some of these divisions, these guys are all right. They have full Springfield rifles, but like these guys only have 248 rifles. One of the divisions, for instance, it's bad. Uh, hmm. All right, I'm paused again. Just trying to figure out where I put the next division after this. Ooh, okay, there. Now struggle to even hold the river with that. Otherwise, Uh, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna see if it makes sense to 10 hours apart. Yeah, I'm just gonna move a division around here. All right, pause. Uh, yeah, ideally 1 day before. Like, how long do you have on those rifles? Yeah, when it says a day to completion, because some auto rifles will just hurt your production if you take the trait before you actually apply it. So, um, cool. Just cleaning up my front lines. Well, oh, Intel. No, Intel trait. Hold on. Intelligence agency. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm gonna invest in some greater code breaking on Italy. Um, I think Italy, possibly Spain and France might together, and Switzerland might together form kind of the axis of this World War II. So they're kind of our main rivals here to keep an eye on. Yeah, they're oop. I mean, Italy's remaining fascist, so they'll go expansionist and eat a lot of stuff up. We'll see. Germany may try and attack them, but they might actually lose, especially if Italy is allied with Spain and France at that point, and Switzerland. Germany could actually lose, and then all that, German industry will end up as like a either occupied or a puppet of Italy. Could be go the other way, in which case, I mean, well, take a look at their leader. Um, you notice how he is tenacious negotiator? Hold on. Oh, sorry, I was taking a look at a badly damaged ship, and I was getting tenacious negotiator comes from form the national bloc, revive the national bloc, which means that Pierre Laval gains tenacious negotiator. It means they're going either non-aligned fascist or right-wing democratic. So sometimes they stay democratic with that, but take a focus that represents being democratic but allying with the fascists. That's what the form the Freedom Front focus is. It's our Freedom Front. It's literally allying with the fascists. It reduces fascist support and gives democratic. I guess out of the idea that some of the fascists come over and join their party because of the alliance, but they could be. Yeah, they'll be either monarchist, fascist, or right democratic. So something conservative for sure. Oop, more guys deploy. Hold on. Where is that buddy? There it is. Boop, boop, boop. Uh, whoops. Uh, oh, you're not improving relations with anyone right now. How much political power you have? And it's 25 to invite them. It's 10 to start improving relations. And what's their current opinion of you? 35. How much political power are you getting a day? That's pretty good. I forget. Do you remember how much their opinion improved of you each day? When you improved it with a nation that was the same ideology, was it like 3 a day? Yeah, so you might want to wait like 3 days before you start improving relations with them. Otherwise, you'll be waiting on the political power to actually invite them to your faction. Um, or hold on. No, that's actually good. Probably want more men there. Under equipped these guys are. All right. Pause. Oop, May 6. All right. Got enough time for that. Cool. Sorry, I was trying to figure out if I something to do with infantry equipment production. Yeah, my brain's really not working fast enough for this game today. Did I did a single player video earlier. I know if you're gonna be able to do it today. So yeah, that may have left me just a little bit like that. Plus my current food coma. I'm just out of it. Who did? Oh, yeah. It I think I poked over and what that saves their way. Yeah, it looked like they were marching east there. So yeah. And now you can push them out of Aguascalientes again if you want. Yeah, so that he keeps building Intel network. Now, yes, and yeah, and as he builds network, it'll reduce their max entrenchment. And I guess, are your divisions ready to take Aguascalientes back, or do they need to do some more planning? Your divisions? Hold on, can I see? And they have no org. Let me try and maybe I can troubleshoot this if you share screen. Why they wouldn't have org? Uh, well, it looks like it screwed up all the front lines, but it looks like some of them were strategically deploying, I'm guessing, for a little while. That's my best guess. If you hover over the org, though, it'll say, oh, they're doing exercises. That's why. Or they were. Um, yeah, yeah. So you either have to stop the exercises or assign them to a different channel that's not doing them. Cubelots or whatever is not doing exercises, and he's very good. You're gonna want to level him up over time, so you might just give him to Cubelots or the other guy. Cardenas is literally your country leader. This is like the gimmicky country leader is Phil Marshall thing, except it's actually bad to do here because he can't be given a officer corps role when he reaches level 4. Um, but yeah, Cubas is yeah he's good attack, terrible planning. What was the guy in the far left, the infantry jungle rat? He's a better planner. So yeah, you might want to have him actually do the planning for retaking, and then you can always switch it to Cubas if for the actual attack if you want. He's also got more defense, so higher breakthrough. But yeah, you're gonna have to clean up those front lines because otherwise they're gonna do all sorts of wacky things. I would just like delete and reassign them all. The game does that whenever whenever a pocket changes size or you form a pocket, the game decides it's gonna make every single front line wrap around the whole darn pocket, and then some of your divisions are all marching that were entrenched. If it's a pocket you're barely keeping contained, you can suddenly lose your ability to actually keep them contained. From that, it's annoying. Um, yeah, they're actually already assigned on the front line pointed north. Those guys in the jungle, that front line doesn't have assigned. You don't actually need to worry about them. They'll stay where they are and won't do wacky things as long as they're on that front line. Same with those guys; they're already assigned there. Yeah, those you could just give them all to the jungle rat guy. The one I was saying, those 4 divisions there. You probably don't need them marching anyways. Oh yes, yeah. The way you do this, looks like you did. I was gonna say you right click and now if you just assign them the front line and yeah, now give them an offensive, they'll stay in place and plan, which is good because you need to hold those mounds. I don't even know what divisions you have assigned. Oh, those, yeah. Yeah, because You probably don't because well, it, what is Cardenas? What are skill traits like points? Um, and Q boss. Oh yeah, sorry, Q boss. I said the wrong name. Yeah, just to make it visually easier, I might assign the two on the eastern ones closer to Mexico City to Q boss, since they shouldn't be attacking anyhow, like east of Leon. Yeah, I might give them a like unassign them from that front line and just short drag the front line like west, so it's only the one province. Well, and I was saying I might first shorten that purple front line because otherwise it'll try and rebalance those three from Leon, and the two of them will march east. There you go. Yeah, you can just delete that. Yeah, you gotta. Well, you gotta delete the offensive line they're currently assigned to if you don't want it to get all messy. Yeah. Um, and they're probably fine where they are. So you just need them to give them a front like where they are, and they'll just stop moving once they're assigned to. Yeah, he's the best planner, so he's probably the best one to actually do the planning of. I mean, Cardenas would be fine too, but Cardenas is doing exercises with divisions that are not trained. Who's still assigned to Cardenas, by the way? You still have three. Those two, and where's that division? Oh, it's way up in the northwest there. Let's say if you right click on it, like it shows well. So yeah, you can have them still do the exercises, and his three divisions all get up to. Like I would shift click it so that he only does it till they're fully trained. Um, and that'll get them all up to regular, whatever. But yeah, as for Aguascalientes, are those are those larger divisions? Are they? What's their Oregon planning look like? Basically, the five that are on that front there, the three larger and the two smaller. Uh, yeah, they're not fully planned and they have no work. So yeah, you're gonna have to wait a little bit before you attack, or they'll just die. And it looks like they are like reserve equipment priority too, so they're not getting the newest rifles. The guys there. It costs political power, so you probably want to wait. If you click on the unit card, it'll tell you. History. Ah, they were the guys who liberated the capital, or liberated the enemy capital, anyways. From but yeah, the guys over west, like of Leon, if you select the larger divisions there, I think I noticed. Yeah, they're all on the reserve version of that template. Like I forget what. Yeah, training version. You might want to switch them to ones that actually get better rifles now, since they're going to be eventually attacking. Uh, you use the same. What? Yeah, you don't have any actual artillery to. So I would just give them the non, just the same as the other Divigio D infantry. Yeah, that's because there's support artillery on the thing, but they already had that in their template. That just gave them higher priority on getting newer rifles. So, you know, that they'll actually get some new rifles when you start producing them and not use basic rifles right now, which kind of suck to attack with. Those guys are good for training more of them. You might actually put one in training. One more of the. You got the guns. They'll probably use with reserve priority. They'll probably use like basic infantry equipment. But if you hover over that little greenish thing, it'll tell you what they're actually using. M1's infantry 1, Gewehr 98. So mostly infantry 1, yeah. I mean, not bad equipment actually. You had some reasonable stuff in stockpile. You could just set them to pre-deploy there. I mean, deploy there, and then when they're fully trained, there's actually no hurry to take Squentes back. It's only a little local supply, so. Um, and these guys are already connected to their capital supply hub, so it doesn't actually make a difference in combat effectiveness. It just makes it when they're in one province, they have encircle penalty, and when they try and break out of the encirclement, they still have the encircle penalty. When they're in two provinces like that, they have higher attack if they decide to attack you. So, um, but there's no hurry. I mean, they're not gaining any active benefit as long as they're not fighting from there. Anyways, go back to things and unpause it, I guess, if you're cool, if you're ready. Yeah, so I could even be wrong about that. I'm pretty sure if they try and attack out of a single encircle province, they still suffer encirclement penalties. Like if you were trying to close the encirclement and push you into the last province. So, oh yeah, Easter Island. I did notice that earlier that when I poked at it that it looked like they might win there depending on the weather. And it's got a unique text too. Oh, no, it doesn't actually. That's just standard text. I mean, it's actually impressive that they somehow managed to put together divisions at all. It must have like spawned in free because the island only has 181 recruitable pop, and only 6 of them were actually removed. um, yeah. So your faction is no longer at war. Um, yeah. Easter Island is empty. If you were a player and you say went communist, just Chile, you could release it as an independent nation and play as them and have, with the right national spirits, like 900 manpower a week. But most of the time they have nothing. I guess that would be like all international volunteers coming from other countries to fight in the token, you know, because it certainly wouldn't be your own people. Uh, yeah, that's why I like to think it sometimes represents as like international brigades. Um, anyways, I'll pause. Yep. Well, you'll still get some army experience out of that. And, ooh, hold on. Now I've got research and new rifles to produce. Um, it's gonna be, yeah, I can finally start producing medium machine gun. You should be close on your rifles too, right? Like, yeah. The M1 Thompson. Yeah, it's a good gun. I keep marking the stuff I licensed from you as obsolete, and it keeps trying to produce it over and over. It's actually kind of annoying. Uh, what? Yeah. Um, but yeah, now I'm producing M1 Thompsons. Unfortunately, getting that right before the Civil War means the Confederates will spawn somehow miraculously with thousands of these rifles that I just started producing like 2 weeks before the Civil War and producing 5 a day, but they're going to spawn with like 4,000 of them. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. Um, all right. Time for some survivability studies. Historically, these weren't done until rather late with the U.S., where they looked at what areas got shot up on planes and came back. And they figured the areas that got shot up and the planes made it back were actually non-critical. Because if it had been a critical area, the plane wouldn't have made it back. Survivorship bias math. Yeah, fun stuff. Um, I mean, that's it's correct math. So figured it out, I guess. One, just making sure there's nothing with my artillery production. Uh, yeah, I might actually want to move towards gun mass production and all right. Anyways, I'll pause for a couple days here. Bangladesh declared in Pakistan. Lovely. Historically, this war is what led to the Bangladeshi genocide, but that was because Pakistan was a U.S. puppet regime, and that almost led to World War III. You've heard this story, right? The Soviets looked at what was going on with the Bangladeshi genocide, and they said, this has to stop, and they put an arms embargo on. And so a Soviet fleet actually came from the Far East, like Vladivostok, and sailed all the way to off the coast of like Dhaka and worked to stop shipment of ammunition and guns to the Pakistani army that was in Bangladesh committing the genocide. So they, like no bullets, they can't shoot people and they can't fight partisans that were fighting back against them. And the U.S. Navy decided no, we can't allow the Soviets to stop guns and ammo from going there. So the Soviet Navy and the U.S. Navy ended up like only a few kilometers away from each other, guns pointed at each other, and it almost like there were warning shots fired. It almost led to a war. Um, World War III because like Henry Kissinger thought it was more important to let Pakistan murder a zillion innocent people than to let the Soviets look like the good guys by stopping a genocide. Yeah, I mean, and after India kicked all the Muslims out of the country, basically, like brutally displaced them. So, all right, there's direct parallels. What India did was kind of like the Nakba in Israel. They just wiped whole villages of all the Muslims and kicked them out, and they drove them to nearest areas that were outside of their border. They drove them to fringes. They drove them to West Pakistan and to East Pakistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Um, Bangladesh is East Pakistan, and then of course Bangladesh eventually had much higher population density, different economy, and had increasing levels of support for socialism. So a like Marxist leaning democratic socialist party, well not Marxist leaning, Marxist. They embraced Marxist theory at least to some degree. Uh, got elected in East Pakistan and declared independence. And so one, the U.S. labeled them as commies, and two, the military dictator who was in charge of Pakistan did not want to accept this Declaration of Independence and decided it wasn't enough just to like enforce martial law. He was gonna murder like whole villages and cities as retaliation for the Declaration of Independence and try and quote kill all the commies basically, and which was, mind you, like 40% of the population. So he just was mass murder all over the place. Yes, basically, because India kicked. Uh, I think it had something to do with like yeah, the British regional governments. Like I think these were subdivisions of India, but the actual the British. This is not an example of the British like artificially drawing lines on a map and like countries forming because of that. Because India, like Pakistan and India, were released as one giant unit. It was religious tensions and the British practice of dividing Muslims against Hindus and stoking religious tensions to make it easier to control the population of the Raj is what led to this. So it was the British fault, but not because of where they drew lines on the map, more because they intentionally. Yep, after generations of teaching Muslims and Hindus to hate each other in the area. Y- yes. Uh, yeah, and it was basically. Well, they have sea connection, which is important. But yeah, um, it was kind of ridiculous. And as I said, Bangladesh went increasingly communist and Pakistan fascist, so they had very different political ideologies. And yeah, so it's not at all surprising that they broke up. And it's not surprising either. I mean, India going much more like moderate, what might be called democratic or non aligned in Hearts Iron terms. Um, yeah, these areas were never going to get along. Different, different predominant political ideologies. There is one state in India that's like somewhere in the east, like Orissa, I think it is around there. Or no, Jabalpur. Jabalpur. What? Kerala? Yeah, that's like in Jabalpur on the way that the and where the map is like on Hearts Iron, I think it is the one state that's like has a communist government in India, like still has a communist government in Hearts Iron. Uh, it might have been Madras. Yeah, I thought it was Jabalpur, but it might have been Madras. It's on the east. I know it's in the east and towards. It's not in the far north. I know that. Yeah, somewhere in this area. And yeah, that's the name that they have now. Um, but yeah, they have like some of the lowest poverty rates and highest education of all of India. So they've been a very successful government. Kind of like how Catalonia has lower poverty rates than the rest of Spain, and now they want to be an independent country. So, because leftist ideology and like actually investing in education in Catalonia and resisting the fascist policies under Franco. Barcelona is, by the way, hanging on. They haven't lost a single province in Barcelona. They're they got a pocket near Valencia that's getting crushed and it's cut off from all supply at this point, so it's only a matter of time till they die. But they may hold on for a while in Barcelona if you keep sending them guns. In fact, they have it like 125,000 manpower at least. So if you give them guns, they have the men to use it. Because of international brigades, they should actually gain manpower faster than they lose it from here on. It's just a matter of having guns and ammo. Yep. Yep. Oh. You just lost more convoys, or shoot. When's your next one finish production? Oh, and you'll have zero, or you just that'll get. Hmm. Yeah. Let me put some up for sale. Low price convoys. It just stuck six up. That should be plenty. So cool. All right. On pause. Cool if I'm pause. Oh, I got one division to pre-deploy. Hold on. It's about to pause. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, now on pause. But yeah, once my Civil War breaks out, I could do Age of Wonders or Starbound might be easier because it's not a game that's turn based, and if you screw something up, you lose momentum. Like it's like Minecraft. It's just there's time is not an issue. You can take as much as you need to do stuff. And oh boy, have I taken a. Oh, you did? Nice. We should definitely do that sometime. Although my current like campaign is probably got like a week and a half at least. I need to find time to finish it. Um, but yeah, we should definitely do that sometime. You should do the tutorial single player though, so you get familiar with the like how it works. Oh, nice. Um, very nice. Right to then. Just considering what to tech next here. I just finished. I could focus on aircraft, or I could focus on artillery. Um, I don't know. Artillery are kind of slow. They can only be at one place at once. The U.S. front is huge, huge, huge. I probably actually want aircraft. Uh, hmm. Long range modifications. I probably actually want to invest early in aircraft range. And I think of it. Hmm. Yeah, the U.S. gets a range-focused aircraft designer, small aircraft designer, which is nice. Light, long-range aircraft. Light are usually the most cost-effective thing to produce, and range helps with the fact that small aircraft don't have a lot of range. And I have a general to promote. I just got enough Army XP, so give me a sec. Oh, my field marshals all have promotions, so probably what's me is not a field marshal yet. Uh, uh, hmm, was sworn. Ah, William Simpson. 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 You ever watch The Simpsons? Um, ah, yeah. Huge, huge role in culture. Um, yeah, the Simpsons is it's on Hulu, so I've watched a bit of it. It's it's interesting. There's some good episodes here and there in terms of social commentary. Um, yeah, a while back they did a goodbye middle class one that was amusing. Where they like to a musical saying about how like the US middle class is dying and billionaires take over everything. Of course they didn't say a word about how like it was probably inevitable um because you know that's Marxist stuff, but um yeah, they lamented the death, and then Bart becomes a firefighter, and then because it's one of the last jobs that still pays well without requiring a mountain of college debt. He decides to become a firefighter at the end. So, because it's one of the like last jobs that still pays well without requiring a mountain of student loan debt or anything. Of course, it's all a matter of time till firefighters get reduced to the same situation as everyone else because they're not like they're not police officers, so police are necessary to keep everyone else down, but firefighters are just emergency workers. I was an EMT, and EMTs people think of as heroes too, but more and more EMTs are barely paid enough to eat. So, like, if they can do that to EMTs, I see no reason they wouldn't do it to firefighters as well. By that, I mean, the people with the money and power, but sorry, it's just, I missed something up with uh, microwaving my Navy, but, you just brought in Bolivia. I guess I didn't realize you're doing. Like they just reached 50 opinion with you, I guess, or don't forget to stop improving relations now that they're in your faction, or now that you. Cool. Uh, well, 6 days. Yeah, hold on. I can't mind doing like three. I'm probably gonna have to pause again then anyway. So, um, yeah, you've been buying those up. Ooh. Factory moved from Kentucky to Mississippi. Give me a sec. I think it was already industrialized. No, I haven't industrialized Kentucky yet.